Coming up next is John Allen Farlinger, CEO and Executive Chairman of Assure Holdings / Assure Neuromonitoring. That is the company, Assure Neuromonitoring. So OTC ticker is ARHH. And when we have it, let's roll it, please.
Good afternoon. My name is John Farlinger. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Assure Holdings Corporation, and I'm going to spend a few minutes today telling you about the interesting and innovative things that we're doing at Assure Holdings. At Assure, we're a healthcare services company. We trade on the Toronto Venture Exchange and the OTCQB. We believe we're quickly developing a reputation as the best in-class provider of outsourced intraoperative neurophysiological monitoring services. We're the only publicly traded company of our type in the United States, and we are in the process of complementing our core business with a telehealth offering, around neurologist services. We currently operate in 10 states. We did over 9,900 managed procedures last year with 191 surgeons in 127 hospitals and facilities, and we currently employ 80 technologists. We have a retention rate with our surgeons over 97%, and we are Joint Commission accredited. If you look at the chart on the diagram, you'll see our growth in procedures, which has exceeded 80% over the last 3 years. In 2017, when we went public, we did 1,644 procedures. In 18, we did 3,000. In 19, we did 6,400. And last year, we did 9,914, a growth rate of 50% plus, even in the midst of being slowed down by COVID. Key 21 corporate objectives for Assure. There are 4 of them. The first is continuing to expand our scale and our size. We expect, and we're forecasting, a growth rate which will exceed 70% in 2021. We're going to continue to grow our business organically and complement that with continued M&A support in closing activities. We're building out our neurologist telemedicine platform, and we are seeking facility-wide contracts with hospitals. At the same time, we are going to continue with our success in developing in-network agreements. We're using data and analytics to evangelize the value of our services to the payors. And by the end of 2021, we expect to have over 50% of our commercial volume in contractual rates with major insurance companies and payors. The goal by the end of 2022 is to directly or indirectly contract with virtually all major payers in each market where it makes economic sense to do that. Cash collections continue to be a key theme for the company. That's our third objective. And critical to us is generating and accelerating cash flow. We made great progress last year in increasing our cash collections by over 50%. This year, the focus will be continuing that improvement through automation and integration of our revenue cycle management process, which was prior to this almost entirely manual. Last year, as I mentioned, we improved our cash flow by about 50%, generating over 24 million of cash receipts compared to 16 million in 2019. Lastly, in terms of corporate objectives, a key focus for us is around clinical leadership. We expect to further leverage our competitive advantage in demonstrating a superior quality of service in the intraoperative neuromonitoring industry and becoming a market leader in education, clinical research, and making heavy investments in training, technologist training, and neurologist training as we attempt to scale our neurologist services. Another objective in 2021 is really uplisting to a major US exchange. We completed an S1 process in February of 2021 and are focused on becoming and listing on a major US exchange. Some of you may be asking, what is intraoperative neuromonitoring? Well, it's the use of electrophysiological methods, typically EEG and EMG, to observe the functional integrity of neural structures during surgery. Why? Why do we do it? Because we're providing immediate feedback to a surgeon before the occurrence of a neurological deficit or permanent injury to a patient during what's typically a highly complex and invasive surgery. We're doing this during spinal and neurosurgeries, vascular, ENT, orthopedic, and other types of, again, highly invasive surgeries. Last year, over 1.4 million surgeries took place using this type of service. The number of surgeries is growing, and as is the growth within certain verticals. On the right, you'll see a pie chart, which shows you the market penetration by vertical. Specifically, we started off in spine, which is about 29% of the market. We're also now in orthopedic, with plans to expand into ENT and vascular. We're actually making tremendous progress in neurosurgeries as well. The focus for us will be to grow our existing business, which is over 70% focused on spine, into the other verticals over the next 12 to 24 months. On slide 6, this is a pictorial. It shows each of you how we make money. And the diagrams, you'll see the diagrams in blue and orange, highlight the various revenue streams. In blue is the operating room environment. We have a technologist, which is our employee, working real time with a surgeon and a patient. The patient is face down on a table. This is a typical spine or back surgery. In the operating room, there's typically an anesthesiologist, a nursing team. There could even be a second surgeon. In this environment, our technologist is looking at a computer screen. That's a Cadwell piece of Cadwell equipment, and we're looking at up to 16 modalities. We're looking at the impact of the surgery on the patient, the activity of neural gateways, the impact of anesthetics, and we're generally looking after the well-being of the patient. We're trying to make sure that a deficit does not take place in the OR. We're billing the hospitals, we're billing the insurance companies, and we're a value-added service above and beyond what the surgeon, the hospital, and members of the nursing team will charge. On the right-hand side, you'll see an off-site neurologist. That neurologist is working remotely. It's set up, really, the neurologist is looking at the same information that our technologist is looking at and communicating directly with the surgeon and our technologist. Currently, that neurologist is contracted by us. We're using contracting companies, third-party companies to help us do this. And the neurologist is typically looking at anywhere from 7 to 12 procedures at a time. We are in the process of bringing that function in-house and hiring our own neurologist in that role. In our business, we're meeting the needs of multiple stakeholders. Key constituents in our ecosystem are the surgeons, the hospitals, the insurance companies, and the patients themselves. In our relationship with the surgeons, it's really a partnering relationship. What we've been able to exploit is the fact that if a surgeon is not working with us, they're typically having a technologist parachuted into the OR. There's no continuity, there's a lack of trust, and our model is really around partnering with the surgeon, creating continuity, and providing the best possible technologist into the OR. Our technologists are all board certified, typically a master's degree or undergrad degree in science, biochemistry, chemistry, etc. It works out really well. Surgeons like continuity in the operating room, particularly where we're working on surgeries that can be anywhere from 2, 3, 4, as many as 8 to 10 hours in length. The hospitals, clearly they're focused on patient care, and they're also looking at reducing liability. Typically, intraoperative neuromonitoring is not a core competency. So there is really a focus now in hospitals because of COVID and other challenges to reduce costs. A big part of our growth strategy will be inducing the hospitals to use us and to outsource to us going forward. We believe with scale, expertise, and our growing reputation in the industry that we will continue to be able to develop an increasing number of contracts with hospitals. Next are the insurance companies themselves, the payors. To date, key data points here are that nearly everyone providing these services is out of network with the insurance companies, which means they don't have a contract, and they are billing services with the hope of negotiating something later. A key part of our program is working with the payors, selling them on the advantages of our services, giving them data back around the benefits and the efficacy of our services. It's working out fairly well. We expect to be able to pioneer this strategy and to develop long-term relationships with the insurance companies. Some of the nuances of our business are that we provide an in-house patient advocate team. We're working very efficiently at reducing costs. And in our recent negotiations, we're able to show the insurance companies quantitative and qualitatively the impact of us being in the operating room and reducing risk and improving quality of service for the patients. And with respect to the patients, it's all about quality of life, both during and after these highly complex surgeries. Part of our challenge and part of what we're doing a great job at is educating them prior to surgery about what's going to happen, and then working with them after the surgery. We have an in-house patient advocate team that works very closely with all of our patients. Our teams are all heavily trained. And again, I want to emphasize, all of our technologists are board certified, and all of our patient advocates are highly trained in working with patients on a go-forward basis. A quick snapshot of the industry. This shows you a quick chart of where the industry is going. We're growing the outsourced market, just under $1 billion vertical, growing at about a 10% CAGR. The in-source market, well, really the market that's being handled by the hospitals, slightly smaller. You're really looking at about a $2 billion market going into 2022. We're a very small player yet, but we have aggressive plans to expand our presence in the market. Some other data points here are that you've got this market growing because of the fact that you've got an increasing number of cases, more surgeries, an increasing number of chronic disorders. We look at the competitive landscape. We're a small player, but we're growing quickly. You'll see a list of the other interoperative neuromonitoring companies here, Medsurant, National, and literally there are dozens and dozens of smaller players in every state. Part of our strategy is to be a consolidator as we grow our business and build out our platform. The hospitals are competitors, but clearly we feel there is a very compelling proposition for them to outsource to us. And lastly, there are companies like Specialty Care and NuVasive who control about 10% of the market each. A quick map of the United States. Everything in green is where we are. We're now in Utah, Colorado, Texas, Arizona, Kansas, Missouri, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and South Carolina, with plans to expand into Nevada, Nebraska, Minnesota, and Virginia. We've got a fairly robust pipeline. Other companies in our industry are struggling to grow. We're growing at about an 80% rate annualized. A quick chart showing you our growth rates. I think the numbers speak for themselves. We went public in 2017. We did 1,600 procedures. We've increased that by tenfold over the last 4 years. And I think we are poised for some significant expansion over 21 and 22. And frankly, we don't see these growth rates slowing down. I should highlight, we just acquired one of our competitors in Texas, a company called Sentry Neuromonitoring, and that will help us increase our volume by over 50% over the next 12 months. I want to touch briefly on our emerging telemedicine offering, which is really a service wrapped around neurologist services. We believe the market, it's fairly obvious now, is moving toward telehealth. It's efficient, it's effective, and we've already set up a platform to do that. We've simply been using contractors in that role. We're all in on this, and we believe there's a tremendous opportunity to add strength to our neurologist services and to make it a key part of our business, essentially doubling down and putting our own people into the seats of what have been contracted seats allows us to leverage and manage 7 to 12 cases at a time and benefit from that. If you look at our timeline, we've already started. We've hired our first audiologist. We have a second neurologist starting in June, with a third starting over the summer. Our expectations are that each neurologist will manage over 2,000 procedures annually. I touched briefly on the Sentry acquisition, a company that we respected. We have a lot of respect for the team. They're also Joint Commission certified. Heavy emphasis in the Houston market, with a footprint that's also in Kansas and Missouri. They managed over 5,500 procedures last year, generating over $5 million of cash receipts. The purchase price was $3.5 million, $1.2 million in cash, and $2.3 in Assure stock. Management and the founders wanted our currency or our stock back as a key driver in the acquisition. Significant upside for us now in Texas, as it is now our largest market with the acquisition, and a key driver for us starting to negotiate in-network agreements in Texas. Top line results, it's all about increasing case counts, managing average revenue per procedure, and reducing write-downs. We're heavily focused, and we believe we're poised to make significant progress as really an early adopter to create and partner with the insurance companies over the medium term. We've already documented in the past, we had issues with third-party billing companies as we started. We're all in on revenue cycle management, owning it, and automation and analytics. We believe the companies that control data and analytics will essentially win this battle over the long term. A snapshot of our balance sheet. We closed a round of equity with 2 institutional partners early December of 2019, raising $10.5 million, received another $1.7 million in an SBA loan. We became operationally cash flow positive during 2020, and our balance sheet has been significantly strengthened. It's there on the right. At the end of December of 2020, we had over $4 million in cash, $15 million of accounts receivable, $13 million of other assets. Current liabilities, less than $3 million, leases 1.3, and debt to banks and convertible notes of about 6.4. All told, about 30 million plus in assets, 14 in liabilities. 56,600,000 shares outstanding, fully diluted with options and warrants, almost 84 million shares. Management team, myself, I act as CEO and chair. Preston Parsons was the founder of the company, former NFL football player, medical device distributor for almost a decade. Key people we've added, John Price came on board as CFO, almost a decade of experience with Ernst & Young, a lot of it in Silicon Valley. He's a lot of experience in doing S1s, and he's had experience in doing NASDAQ up listings in the past. Paul Webster came to us from Air Methods, where he was responsible for driving their in-network negotiations with major carriers, instrumental in helping to grow the business from a $100 million market cap to a $2.3 billion exit. Stephanie Krause, our VP and Technologist Manager, highly skilled, highly competent as a technologist, certified neuromonitoring technologist herself, but also on the board of ABRIC, which is the governing body for neurotechnologists. Sean Blosser joined us about a year ago, an expert in revenue cycle management. He came to us from Option Care Health, where he was managing almost 800 million of billing and revenue. The board of directors, obviously in contemplating an uplisting, this is a critical part of that. Myself, I act as chair. Dr. Christopher Romana was in Florida, a well-known neurosurgeon who recently retired, who's also a board member of the Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. Martin Burian, who's been a board member since the company went public, a career banker. Stephen Summer, just retired last year as CEO of the Colorado Hospital Association. And John Flood just recently joined the board, former founder and chairman of Craig Hallam in Minneapolis. That's a quick snapshot on Assure. Hope you've enjoyed the presentation, and we look forward to chatting with you, all of you, in the near future.
Thank you very much. Thank you, John. We really appreciate you being here and sharing Assure Neuromonitoring with us.